Power of Not Reacting, Unlocking the Secret to Emotional Mastery, Audiobook. Step in developing emotional intelligence is self-awareness. As we discussed in the previous chapter, self-awareness is the foundation of emotional intelligence. It allows you to recognize and understand your own emotions, making it easier to manage them. When you're self-aware, you're better able to assess how emotions like anger, fear, or joy are influencing your thoughts and actions. This awareness helps you pause before reacting impulsively. You begin to realize that your emotions don't have to control you. You can choose how to respond. The second component of emotional intelligence is self-regulation. Self-regulation is the ability to manage your emotions in a healthy and productive way. It's about learning to stay calm, even when your emotions are intense. This doesn't mean suppressing your feelings or pretending they don't exist. Rather, it means acknowledging your emotions and then choosing how to respond to them, rather than allowing them to take over. For example, if you're feeling angry, instead of reacting immediately by shouting or storming off, self-regulation allows you to take a moment to breathe, think, and respond in a way that's more constructive. It's about finding healthy outlets for your emotions, whether that's through talking things through, going for a walk, or simply taking a few deep breaths to reset. The more you practice self-regulation, the more you'll find yourself in control of your reactions, which leads to better decision-making and less emotional upheaval. Another crucial aspect of emotional intelligence is motivation. Emotionally intelligent people tend to have a high degree of intrinsic motivation. They are driven not by external rewards, but by a deep internal desire to achieve their goals and live a purposeful life. They are more resilient in the face of setbacks, as they understand that challenges are part of the journey, not the end of it. Motivated people are also more likely to take responsibility for their actions and maintain a positive outlook, even when things get tough. But emotional intelligence isn't just about managing your own emotions. It also involves empathy. Empathy is the ability to recognize and understand the emotions of others. It's about tuning into the emotional cues that people give off through their body language, tone of voice, or facial expressions, and responding in a way that shows you care and understand. Empathy is essential in building strong relationships, both personally and professionally. When you can empathize with others, you're able to connect with them on a deeper level. You listen without judgment, offer support when needed, and respond with compassion. Empathy allows you to build trust, resolve conflicts peacefully, and create an environment where everyone feels understood and valued. Social skills are an integral part of emotional intelligence. Social skills are about how we manage our relationships with others. They encompass a wide range of abilities, including effective communication, active listening, conflict resolution, and collaboration. People with strong social skills are able to interact with others in ways that are respectful, constructive, and positive. They are great at expressing themselves clearly and assertively without being aggressive or passive. They can navigate difficult social situations with ease and build meaningful, long-lasting relationships. One of the best ways to develop emotional intelligence is through practice. Emotional intelligence is not something you're born with. It's something that can be cultivated over time. It takes self-reflection, patience, and a willingness to learn. Start by noticing your emotional responses throughout the day. When you feel an intense emotion, ask yourself, what is this emotion trying to tell me? How can I respond in a way that's healthy and productive? Next, practice empathy by putting yourself in someone else's shoes. Listen actively, ask questions to understand their point of view, and show that you care about their feelings. Finally, work on your social skills by engaging in conversations, being clear in your communication, and seeking common ground when disagreements arise. Over time, these practices will become second nature, and your emotional intelligence will grow. Developing emotional intelligence is a lifelong journey. It's about becoming more in tune with your emotions, understanding the emotions of others, and using this knowledge to navigate the world with grace and empathy. The benefits of emotional intelligence are immense: better relationships, improved decision-making, increased resilience, and a deeper sense of purpose. When you develop emotional intelligence, you don't just change how you experience the world, you change how the world experiences you, and that, in turn, can transform your life in ways you never imagined. Chapter 6. Mindfulness and Emotional Awareness. In our fast-paced, always connected world, it's easy to get swept up in the whirlwind of thoughts and emotions. We react without thinking, we act on impulse, and often we find ourselves overwhelmed by the constant barrage of feelings. This is where mindfulness and emotional awareness come into play, two powerful tools that can help you regain control over your emotions and live a more peaceful, balanced life. What is mindfulness? Mindfulness is the practice of being fully present in the moment, paying attention to your thoughts, feelings, and bodily sensations without judgment. It's about observing your experiences as they arise, without getting lost in them or letting them dictate your actions. Mindfulness is not about trying to escape or suppress emotions. It's about acknowledging them, accepting them, and allowing them to flow through you without reacting impulsively. Think about a time when you felt overwhelmed by emotions. Maybe you were in an argument, stressed out at work, or feeling anxious about something in the future. In those moments, your mind is often racing, and your emotions can feel like they're in the driver's seat. Mindfulness allows you to step back and simply notice what you're feeling without being swept away by it. You create space between the emotion and your reaction, and in that space, you can choose how to respond rather than simply reacting out of habit. Why is mindfulness important for emotional awareness? Mindfulness is key to developing emotional awareness because it teaches us to observe our feelings without judgment. Often, we don't even realize the emotions we're experiencing until they've already influenced our behavior. But mindfulness brings those emotions to the surface, allowing us to see them clearly as they are. This helps us understand our emotional state in real time and make more conscious choices about how we respond. For example, when you're mindful, you become aware of the signs your body gives when you're feeling stressed or anxious: tension in your shoulders, a tightness in your chest, a racing heart. Instead of ignoring these sensations or pushing them aside, mindfulness invites you to pause and check in with yourself. What's going on inside me right now? You ask. What am I feeling? Why am I feeling this way? This self-awareness allows you to better understand the root causes of your emotions and helps you decide on the best course of action to take. The benefits of mindfulness for emotional control. When we're constantly on autopilot, we react impulsively to situations, often without even realizing it. Mindfulness, on the other hand, helps us break that cycle. With mindfulness, we slow down. We give ourselves permission to feel without judgment, and we allow ourselves to process emotions in a healthy way. The more you practice mindfulness, the more emotionally balanced you become. You're able to handle stressful situations with a clear mind, respond to challenges with greater ease, and remain calm even when things get tough. One of the main benefits of mindfulness is its ability to reduce emotional reactivity. Instead of letting your emotions control you, mindfulness allows you to control your emotions. It gives you the space to choose how you want to react to a given situation, instead of reacting based on old patterns or knee-jerk responses. This sense of control is liberating. It's like having a pause button in your mind, allowing you to stop, reflect, and then respond in a way that aligns with your values, not your immediate impulses. How to practice mindfulness in daily life. The beauty of mindfulness is that it can be practiced anywhere, at any time. You don't need a quiet room or a special meditation cushion. You simply need to be present in whatever you're doing. Here are a few simple ways to integrate mindfulness into your daily life. Mindful breathing. One of the easiest ways to practice mindfulness is through deep, conscious breathing. When you feel overwhelmed or stressed, take a few moments to breathe deeply. Inhale slowly through your nose for a count of 4, hold for a moment, then exhale slowly through your mouth for a count of 4. Focus solely on your breath. This simple act of breathing can calm your nervous system and bring you back to the present moment. Body scan. A body scan is a mindfulness practice where you bring your attention to different parts of your body, one at a time. Start at your feet and slowly work your way up to your head, noticing any tension, discomfort, or sensations in each area. This practice helps you reconnect with your body and become aware of how emotions are manifesting physically. Mindful listening. When having a conversation with someone, practice listening mindfully. Instead of thinking about what you're going to say next, focus fully on the person speaking. Pay attention to their words, tone, and body language. This type of mindful listening helps you respond with empathy and understanding rather than reacting emotionally. Mindful walking. Take a few minutes each day to go for a walk and practice mindfulness. As you walk, pay attention to the feeling of your feet on the ground, the rhythm of your breath, the sounds around you, and the sights you encounter. Walking mindfully can be a powerful way to reconnect with your body and the present moment, especially if you're feeling stressed or overwhelmed. Mindful eating. When eating, try to eat without distractions, such as watching TV or scrolling on your phone. Pay attention to the colors, textures, and flavors of the food. Focus on how the food makes you feel and take your time with each bite. This simple practice can help you become more present with your body and your emotions, especially when it comes to cravings or unhealthy eating habits. Emotional awareness through mindfulness. Mindfulness and emotional awareness go hand in hand. By practicing mindfulness, you develop a greater understanding of your emotional landscape. You start to recognize patterns in your emotional responses, which gives you the ability to manage them more effectively. For example, when you feel anger rising, you can pause and ask yourself, what is this anger trying to tell me? Is it a sign of frustration, hurt, or fear? Once you identify the emotion, you can decide how to respond more consciously. Over time, mindfulness enhances your emotional intelligence. You become more in tune with your emotional needs, and you learn to act on those needs in ways that are healthy and productive. Instead of reacting impulsively, you respond with clarity, patience, and understanding. Mindfulness and emotional awareness are not quick fixes, but powerful practices that can change the way you experience the world. By being present with your emotions, acknowledging them, and choosing how to respond, you gain greater control over your reactions. Mindfulness doesn't erase stress or anxiety, but it helps you handle them with grace and resilience. With consistent practice, you'll find yourself more emotionally balanced, better equipped to handle life's challenges, and more deeply connected to the world around you. The more mindful you become, the more aware you are of your emotions, and the more control you have over your life. Chapter 7. Building Resilience Through Non-Reactivity. True resilience isn't built by avoiding difficulties, but by facing them with calm determination. Each moment of non-reaction strengthens your mental muscles, making you more resilient. This chapter shares stories of individuals who turned their lives around by refusing to react impulsively. They learned that not reacting isn't weakness, It's the strongest choice they could make. With each practice, resilience grows, creating a foundation that helps you face life's trials with composure. Chapter 8. The benefits of emotional control. Emotions are powerful forces within us. They shape our decisions, influence our interactions, and even determine the quality of our lives. While emotions themselves are not inherently bad, how we handle them can make a world of difference. Developing emotional control is not about suppressing or ignoring our emotions, but rather about understanding them, managing them, and choosing how we respond. The benefits of emotional control are far-reaching, affecting every aspect of our lives, from our relationships to our health, our work, and our overall sense of well-being. Improved decision-making. One of the most immediate benefits of emotional control is its ability to improve decision-making. When we let our emotions dictate our actions, we tend to make impulsive choices that may not align with our long-term goals. For example, acting out of anger might lead to a heated argument, or making a decision out of fear could prevent us from taking necessary risks. However, when we develop emotional control, we can step back, pause, and assess the situation from a place of clarity and objectivity. Emotional control allows us to recognize when our emotions are influencing our decisions. Once we realize this, we can choose to pause, reflect, and make decisions based on reason, values, and facts, rather than temporary emotional states. This leads to better, more thoughtful decisions in both our personal and professional lives. Healthier relationships. Emotional control is the cornerstone of healthy relationships. Whether in our romantic partnerships, friendships, or work relationships, how we manage our emotions plays a crucial role in the quality of those interactions. Reacting impulsively in a relationship, whether through anger, frustration, or hurt feelings, often leads to misunderstandings, conflict, and resentment. On the other hand, emotional control enables us to respond to others with patience, empathy, and understanding. When we control our emotions, we create space for open, honest communication. Instead of reacting defensively or shutting down, we are able to listen actively, share our feelings calmly, and work through challenges together. This not only strengthens our bonds with others, but also helps us resolve conflicts in a healthier way. Over time, this leads to deeper, more meaningful connections and greater trust in our relationships. Reduced stress and anxiety. Emotions like anger, fear, and frustration can create intense stress in our lives, especially when we don't know how to manage them. Chronic stress has a negative impact on both our mental and physical health. However, emotional control can help alleviate this burden. By learning to recognize and manage our emotions, we can reduce the intensity of stress and anxiety. For example, when you feel overwhelmed by stress, emotional control allows you to step back, take a deep breath, and evaluate the situation more objectively. Instead of reacting with panic or worry, you can approach the situation calmly and make decisions that will help you regain control. Over time, this practice helps reduce the emotional intensity of stressful situations and leads to greater emotional stability. Enhanced self-esteem and confidence. Emotional control is closely tied to self-esteem and confidence. When we allow our emotions to control us, we often feel like victims of our circumstances. We may believe that we have no control over our reactions or that we are at the mercy of our feelings. This can lead to feelings of helplessness, frustration, and a lack of self-worth. On the other hand, when we practice emotional control, we regain our power. We realize that we are in charge of our emotions and that we can choose how to respond to any given situation. This sense of control boosts our self-esteem and confidence. We become more resilient in the face of challenges, and we trust ourselves to handle whatever comes our way. This confidence spills over into other areas of our lives, making us more capable and self-assured. Greater resilience in difficult situations. Life is full of challenges, and how we handle those challenges is largely determined by our emotional control. When we are able to manage our emotions, we become more resilient in the face of adversity. Instead of being knocked down by setbacks or emotional storms, we are able to remain grounded, keep a clear mind, and move forward with determination. Emotional control helps us maintain a sense of perspective, even when things seem difficult. It allows us to bounce back from failure, disappointment, or hardship without getting bogged down by negative emotions. The more we practice emotional control, the more resilient we become. We learn that our emotions don't define us, and that no matter what life throws our way, we have the strength and emotional intelligence to cope. Increased emotional intelligence, EQ. The more you practice emotional control, the higher your emotional intelligence, EQ, becomes. Emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize, understand, and manage both your own emotions and the emotions of others. People with high EQ are able to handle stressful situations with ease, communicate effectively, and build strong, positive relationships. By developing emotional control, you also improve your emotional awareness. You become more in tune with your feelings and the feelings of others, which allows you to respond in a way that fosters connection and understanding. This heightened emotional intelligence not only improves your relationships, but also enhances your leadership abilities, problem-solving skills, and overall effectiveness in both personal and professional settings. Improved physical health. There is a strong connection between our emotional state and our physical health. Stress, anger, anxiety, and other negative emotions can take a serious toll on our bodies, contributing to health problems such as high blood pressure, heart disease, and weakened immune function. Conversely, emotional control can improve our overall health by reducing the impact of stress and promoting a more balanced emotional state. By managing our emotions, we reduce the strain that negative emotions put on our bodies. This leads to lower stress levels, improved heart health, better sleep, and a stronger immune system. Emotional control can also improve our habits, encouraging healthier lifestyle choices such as regular exercise, balanced nutrition, and better sleep. Enhanced focus and productivity. Emotional control can significantly enhance our ability to focus and be productive. When we allow our emotions to take over, it's easy to become distracted, overwhelmed, or unfocused. Negative emotions like frustration or anxiety can cloud our judgment and make it difficult to concentrate on the task at hand. By practicing emotional control, we maintain clarity and focus, even in challenging situations. Instead of being distracted by emotions, we are able to stay present and work towards our goals with determination. This leads to greater productivity, more efficient problem-solving, and a stronger sense of accomplishment. A greater sense of peace and happiness. Ultimately, emotional control leads to a greater sense of inner peace and happiness. When we are no longer controlled by our emotions, we experience less conflict, less stress, and more balance in our lives. We become more in tune with our values and our goals, and we respond to life with a sense of calm and confidence. Emotional control allows us to approach life's challenges with a positive mindset, knowing that we have the ability to handle whatever comes our way. It helps us focus on the present moment and enjoy life more fully, rather than being trapped in a cycle of reactive emotions. This sense of inner peace contributes to long-term happiness and well-being. The benefits of emotional control are vast and far-reaching, from better decision-making and healthier relationships to improved physical health and greater happiness. The power to control your emotions is one of the most important skills you can develop. Emotional control doesn't mean suppressing or denying your emotions. It means recognizing them, understanding them, and choosing how to respond in a way that aligns with your values and goals. The more you practice emotional control, the more you will find peace, clarity, and resilience in every area of your life. Chapter 9. How to overcome negative thinking. Negative thinking is something we all experience at some point in our lives. It's the voice inside your head that tells you you're not good enough, that things won't work out, or that failure is inevitable. It's that inner critic that constantly reminds you of your mistakes, weaknesses, and limitations. While it's normal to have negative thoughts from time to time, when they become persistent, they can undermine your confidence, block your progress, and prevent you from living a fulfilling life. Overcoming negative thinking is not about eliminating every negative thought, but learning to respond to them in a healthier way. It's about changing your mindset, reprogramming the way you perceive yourself and the world, and shifting from a place of self-doubt and fear to one of empowerment and possibility. Let's explore how to overcome negative thinking and turn it into a source of strength. Recognize negative thoughts as they arise. The first step in overcoming negative thinking is to become aware of your thoughts. We often don't notice the constant stream of negative thoughts that run through our minds because they've become so automatic. They can pop up when we face a challenge, try something new, or even in our everyday routines. These thoughts might sound like, "I can't do this," "I'm not smart enough," "I always mess things up," "Nothing ever goes right for me." When these negative thoughts arise, it's important to pause and acknowledge them. Awareness is key. Recognizing that you're having a negative thought is the first step in taking control over it. Once you're aware, you can choose not to let it dictate your behavior or emotions. Challenge the thought. Is it true? The next step is to challenge the negative thought. Often, negative thinking is based on irrational beliefs or distorted perceptions of reality. For example, you may have the thought, "I'm terrible at this." But is that really true? Have you ever succeeded at something similar? Or perhaps you think, "I'm a failure." But have you taken a moment to reflect on your achievements, no matter how small? To challenge negative thoughts, ask yourself questions like, is this thought based on facts or assumptions? What evidence do I have to support this thought? What would I tell a friend who is thinking this way? Is there another perspective I could consider? By questioning the validity of your negative thoughts, you begin to see them for what they are: temporary, often unfounded feelings that don't reflect the whole truth. Reframe the thought. Reframing is a powerful technique for changing the way we interpret situations. When a negative thought arises, try to reframe it in a more positive or balanced light. Instead of thinking, "I failed, and now everything is ruined," reframe it to, "I made a mistake, but I can learn from it and do better next time." Reframing helps you shift from a defeatist mindset to one of growth. Instead of seeing setbacks as permanent failures, you start to view them as opportunities to learn, grow, and improve. This shift in perspective is essential for overcoming negative thinking and building resilience. Practice self-compassion. One of the reasons we get stuck in negative thinking is because we are often too hard on ourselves. We hold ourselves to unrealistic standards and berate ourselves when we fall short. Practicing self-compassion is about treating yourself with kindness and understanding, just as you would a close friend who is struggling. When you have a negative thought like, "I'm not good enough," respond with compassion by saying to yourself, "It's okay to make mistakes. I am doing my best, and that's enough." Self-compassion helps to break the cycle of negative self-talk, by replacing it with a nurturing, supportive mindset. Focus on solutions, not problems. Negative thinking tends to focus on what's wrong, what's lacking, and what can't be done. But shifting your focus from problems to solutions is a powerful way to take control of your thoughts. Instead of dwelling on the things that aren't working, ask yourself, what can I do to improve the situation? What is within my control? When you focus on solutions, you direct your energy towards what you can change, rather than feeling helpless or stuck in your problems. This mindset fosters a sense of empowerment and resilience, as it allows you to take proactive steps toward overcoming challenges, rather than staying overwhelmed by them. Practice gratitude. Gratitude is one of the most effective antidotes to negative thinking. When you focus on what's wrong in your life, it's easy to become consumed by negativity. However, practicing gratitude shifts your focus to what's going well, what you have, and what you appreciate. It helps to balance out the negative with the positive and puts things into perspective. Try keeping a gratitude journal where you write down a few things you're grateful for each day. These don't have to be big things. They can be as simple as a warm cup of tea, a kind word from a friend, or a moment of peace in your day. Over time, this practice trains your brain to focus on the positives, gradually replacing the negative thought patterns. Surround yourself with positive influences. The people we surround ourselves with have a significant impact on our mindset. Negative people can reinforce negative thinking, while positive, supportive individuals can help lift us up and remind us of our strengths. Surround yourself with people who encourage you, believe in you, and help you see things from a positive perspective. If there are people in your life who consistently feed into your negative thinking, it may be helpful to set boundaries with them or seek support from those who inspire and motivate you. Positive social connections can make a huge difference in how you see yourself and the world around you. Practice mindfulness. Mindfulness is the practice of being present in the moment and fully aware of your thoughts, emotions, and sensations without judgment. When you're mindful, you can observe your negative thoughts without getting caught up in them. You can recognize that thoughts are just thoughts. They do not define you, and they do not dictate your reality. Practicing mindfulness allows you to detach from negative thinking and view it from a place of objectivity. You realize that your thoughts are not facts and that they don't have to control you. Mindfulness helps you break the cycle of rumination and gives you the space to make conscious decisions about how you want to think and feel. Visualize positive outcomes. Visualization is a powerful technique used by many successful people to overcome negative thinking and create a positive mindset. When negative thoughts arise, instead of focusing on the worst-case scenario, visualize a positive outcome. Picture yourself succeeding, handling challenges with grace, and achieving your goals. Visualization helps to retrain your brain to focus on success rather than failure. It primes you for success and makes it easier to take the necessary steps to achieve your goals. The more you visualize positive outcomes, the more your mindset shifts toward optimism and possibility. Build new thought habits. Overcoming negative thinking is not something that happens overnight. It requires consistent effort and practice. One way to make this process easier is by building new thought habits. Start by replacing negative thoughts with more positive, realistic ones. For example, if you catch yourself thinking, "I can't do this," replace it with, "I may not know how to do this yet, but I can learn and improve." The more you practice replacing negative thoughts with empowering ones, the more this becomes your new mental habit. Over time, you'll notice that positive thinking starts to come more naturally, and negative thoughts will have less of an impact on you. Overcoming negative thinking is a process that takes time, patience, and commitment. It's not about eliminating every negative thought, but about learning to recognize, challenge, and reframe them in healthier ways. Through practices like self-compassion, mindfulness, and focusing on solutions, you can replace the habit of negative thinking with one that empowers and uplifts you. Remember, you have the power to change the way you think, and by doing so, change the way you experience the world. The more you practice these techniques, the more freedom and peace you'll find in your mind and your life. Chapter 10. Effective Communication and Emotional Control. Communication is the foundation of all relationships, whether personal, professional, or casual. How we express ourselves and respond to others plays a vital role in how we connect, resolve conflicts, and build trust. But emotional control is an essential element of effective communication. When our emotions are left unchecked, we may say things we don't mean, escalate conflicts, or fail to express ourselves in ways that are clear and productive. On the other hand, when we master emotional control, we can communicate with greater clarity, empathy, and respect. Why emotional control matters in communication. At its core, emotional control in communication is about being aware of how your emotions are influencing your words and actions. When emotions are heightened, whether it's frustration, anger, excitement, or sadness, it becomes more difficult to communicate effectively. In these moments, the impulse to react rather than respond can lead to misunderstandings, hurt feelings, or even damage to the relationship. Effective communication requires us to pause, think, and regulate our emotions before we speak. This enables us to convey our message clearly without being overly emotional or defensive. Emotional control allows us to remain calm, listen actively, and respond with consideration, rather than allowing impulsive feelings to take over. The role of self-awareness in communication. Self-awareness is the first step toward emotional control. Before we can manage our emotions, we need to know what we're feeling and why. If you've ever been in a heated conversation and suddenly found yourself saying things you regret, it's because your emotions took over and you didn't have the time or space to pause and reflect. By becoming more self-aware, you can recognize when your emotions are rising and make a conscious decision to pause before reacting. The key here is understanding what's happening inside you. Are you angry, anxious, or frustrated? Are these feelings based on the current situation, or do they stem from something deeper, like past experiences or unmet needs? Self-awareness helps you understand your triggers and provides you with the tools to manage your emotional responses. Once you are aware of your emotions, you can make an intentional choice about how to communicate. Rather than letting anger drive your words or fear inhibit them, you can approach the situation with more clarity and calmness. For example, if you feel frustration building up, instead of snapping or becoming defensive, you can take a moment to breathe, acknowledge your frustration, and then express yourself in a way that is calm and thoughtful. Listening with emotional intelligence. Communication is not just about speaking, it's equally about listening. Emotional control is essential not only for how we express ourselves, but also for how we listen to others. When emotions run high, it's easy to listen with judgment or impatience, waiting for the other person to finish so we can speak our piece. But effective communication requires active listening, truly hearing what the other person is saying without immediately reacting to it. When we control our emotions, we can listen more attentively, without rushing to conclusions or feeling threatened by the other person's words. This kind of listening requires empathy, the ability to put yourself in the other person's shoes and understand their perspective. By listening with emotional intelligence, we create a space where both parties can feel heard and respected, making it easier to find common ground and resolve misunderstandings. For example, if someone is speaking to you with frustration, instead of feeling defensive or dismissive, you might listen attentively and acknowledge their feelings, saying something like, "I understand that you're upset. Let's talk about what's going on." This approach shows empathy, and by remaining calm, you can help de-escalate the situation. Responding thoughtfully, not reacting impulsively. The difference between responding and reacting lies in emotional control. Reacting impulsively is often based on automatic emotional responses, saying the first thing that comes to mind, often without considering the impact it might have. This can lead to saying hurtful things, escalating conflicts, or even regretting your words later. Reacting without emotional control often leads to a breakdown in communication. On the other hand, responding thoughtfully requires emotional control. It means taking a moment to assess the situation, reflect on your feelings, and choose your words carefully. When you respond rather than react, you are more likely to keep the conversation productive and respectful. One powerful tool for responding thoughtfully is the pause. When you feel yourself getting worked up, instead of immediately saying something, take a deep breath and pause. Give yourself a moment to collect your thoughts. During this pause, you can ask yourself, what am I feeling right now and why? What is the other person trying to communicate? How can I express myself clearly and calmly? This brief pause not only allows you to regulate your emotions, but also gives you time to choose your words more deliberately. It turns a potential emotional outburst into an opportunity for a calm, constructive dialogue. Managing conflict with emotional control. Conflict is a natural part of any relationship. Differences in opinion, misunderstandings, and unmet needs are inevitable. But how we handle conflict can either strengthen or damage the relationship. When emotions are allowed to take control during conflict, it often leads to shouting matches, blaming, or defensive behavior. In contrast, emotional control in conflict helps us stay calm, focused, and solution-oriented. When emotions are high, it's easy to lose sight of the goal of the conversation, which should be understanding and resolution. Instead of focusing on winning the argument or being right, emotional control helps us focus on finding a solution that works for both parties. During conflict, it's important to stay calm. This can be done by taking deep breaths or taking a brief break if needed. Use I statements. Instead of blaming or accusing the other person, you always do this. Speak from your own perspective. I feel frustrated when this happens. Stay solution-focused. Instead of dwelling on past mistakes or assigning blame, focus on what can be done to move forward and prevent future issues. By managing your emotions during conflict, you can turn potential arguments into opportunities for growth and understanding. Emotional control ensures that conflicts don't turn into personal attacks, but instead remain focused on resolving the issue at hand. The impact of emotional control on non-verbal communication. Communication isn't just about the words we say, it's also about how we say them. Our tone of voice, body language, and facial expressions all convey important messages. Emotional control plays a significant role in non-verbal communication. When we are emotionally charged, our body language often becomes tense, our tone can become harsh, and our facial expressions may show anger, frustration, or defensiveness. By practicing emotional control, you can manage your non-verbal cues to align with the message you want to communicate. For example, if you're feeling frustrated but want to remain calm, consciously relax your shoulders, soften your tone, and make eye contact. This not only helps the other person feel more at ease, but also reinforces the clarity and respectfulness of your words. Building stronger relationships through emotional control. The way we communicate directly impacts the quality of our relationships. By managing our emotions and communicating effectively, we create an environment of trust, respect, and mutual understanding. Emotional control enables us to be present in our relationships, avoiding knee-jerk reactions and focusing on what truly matters, the connection between us and the other person. When we communicate with emotional control, we show that we respect both our own feelings and those of others. This fosters a sense of safety in relationships, where both parties feel heard, understood, and valued. Over time, this leads to stronger, more resilient relationships, whether with family, friends, co-workers, or romantic partners. Effective communication is not just about choosing the right words. It's about managing our emotions in such a way that we can express ourselves clearly, listen with empathy, and respond thoughtfully. Emotional control is the foundation of this process. By being self-aware, practicing active listening, staying calm during conflict, and paying attention to our non-verbal cues, we can communicate more effectively and build stronger, healthier relationships. Emotional control is not something that happens overnight, but with consistent practice, it becomes an invaluable tool for clear, respectful, and constructive communication. Chapter 11. How to set healthy boundaries. Setting healthy boundaries is one of the most important aspects of maintaining emotional well-being and protecting your mental health. Boundaries are the invisible lines we draw to define what is acceptable and what is not, both for ourselves and in our relationships with others. They allow us to protect our time, energy, and emotional resources, while also ensuring that we can nurture positive, respectful interactions with others. Without healthy boundaries, we can easily become overwhelmed, burnt out, or resentful, and our relationships can suffer. But setting boundaries is not always easy. Many of us have been conditioned to prioritize others' needs over our own, and we might fear conflict or rejection if we assert our limits. However, learning how to set healthy boundaries is an essential skill that can improve your relationships, increase your self-esteem, and bring you greater peace of mind. Let's explore why setting boundaries is crucial and how you can implement them effectively in your life. Understanding the importance of boundaries. Boundaries are vital because they protect us from being overwhelmed, manipulated, or taken advantage of. They define the space between you and others, allowing you to engage in relationships without compromising your sense of self or your needs. When we set healthy boundaries, we communicate to others what we are and aren't willing to tolerate, which leads to more respectful, fulfilling relationships. Boundaries are not walls meant to shut people out, but rather guidelines that foster mutual respect and understanding. Without boundaries, we risk becoming overextended, exhausted, and emotionally drained. We might find ourselves saying yes to requests that we don't have the energy or desire to fulfill, or allowing others to treat us in ways that aren't respectful. Healthy boundaries help us manage our emotional and physical resources so that we can show up fully for ourselves and others without feeling depleted. Types of boundaries. There are several types of boundaries, each serving a different purpose in our lives. Understanding these types can help you identify where you need to set boundaries and how to communicate them effectively. Physical boundaries. Physical boundaries relate to your personal space, touch, and physical interaction with others. These boundaries help you feel safe and comfortable in your environment. For example, you might set a boundary by letting someone know you prefer not to be touched without asking, or by choosing when and where you want to engage in physical closeness, such as hugging or holding hands. Emotional boundaries. Emotional boundaries are about separating your feelings from those of others. They allow you to take responsibility for your own emotions while respecting that others are responsible for theirs. Emotional boundaries help you avoid being overwhelmed by other people's emotions and prevent you from feeling guilty for things that aren't your fault. For instance, if a friend is upset and vents their frustrations, an emotional boundary allows you to listen with compassion without taking on their emotions or feeling responsible for solving their problems. It's about offering support without absorbing their emotional turmoil. Mental boundaries. Mental boundaries relate to your thoughts, opinions, and beliefs. Setting mental boundaries means recognizing and respecting differences in perspectives without feeling pressured to adopt others' viewpoints. This allows you to maintain your sense of individuality while engaging in meaningful, respectful dialogue with others. For example, if someone constantly criticizes your views or tries to persuade you to change your opinions, a mental boundary helps you stand firm in your beliefs without being swayed by external pressure. Time boundaries. Time boundaries help protect your time and energy. This involves setting limits on how much time you're willing to give to others, whether in personal or professional contexts. Time boundaries are essential to avoid burnout and ensure that you have enough time for self-care, rest, and pursuing your own goals. For instance, you might set a boundary by limiting how often you respond to work emails after hours, or by saying no to social events when you feel you need a quiet evening at home to recharge. Material boundaries. Material boundaries relate to your personal possessions, including money, belongings, and resources. These boundaries ensure that you are not taken advantage of or expected to give up things you value without your consent. This type of boundary is especially important in relationships where people may have different expectations about what is shared or borrowed. For example, if a friend frequently asks to borrow your things without returning them, you may need to set a boundary by clearly communicating your expectations for how you would like your possessions to be treated. How to set healthy boundaries. Setting healthy boundaries begins with recognizing your needs and limits. It requires self-awareness, self-respect, and the courage to communicate your boundaries clearly and assertively. Here are some steps you can take to set and maintain healthy boundaries. Know your limits. The first step in setting boundaries is identifying your own limits. What are the things that drain your energy, make you feel uncomfortable, or violate your sense of self? Pay attention to situations where you feel resentment, stress, or exhaustion. These feelings are often signals that your boundaries are being crossed. Take time to reflect on your emotional, physical, and mental limits. Once you're clear on what they are, it becomes easier to communicate them to others. For example, you may realize that you have a limit when it comes to overcommitting to social events, or that you need personal space in relationships. Communicate your boundaries clearly. Once you know your limits, it's important to communicate them to others in a clear and direct way. Avoid being vague or apologetic when setting boundaries. This can make it harder for people to understand and respect them. Instead, be firm, yet respectful. For example, if you don't want to answer work emails after hours, you could say, "I don't check emails after 6 p.m., but I'll be happy to address your concerns during office hours tomorrow." By setting clear expectations, you give others the opportunity to respect your boundaries and avoid misunderstandings. Learn to say no. Saying no can be challenging, especially if you fear disappointing others or causing conflict. However, saying no is an essential part of setting boundaries. Remember that every time you say yes to something you don't truly want, you're saying no to your own needs. Start small by practicing saying no in low-stakes situations. For example, if you don't want to attend a social event, say, "I'm sorry, I can't make it, but thank you for the invite." Over time, you'll become more comfortable asserting your boundaries without guilt or hesitation. Be consistent. Consistency is key when it comes to maintaining boundaries. If you set a boundary and then fail to enforce it, people may not take it seriously. It's important to consistently uphold your boundaries, even if others push back or try to test them. If someone ignores your boundary, it's important to remind them in a calm, respectful way. For example, if a colleague repeatedly asks you to take on extra work after hours, you might say, "I've told you before that I don't work past 6 p.m. and I need you to respect that boundary." Being consistent in enforcing your boundaries builds trust and respect over time. Respect other people's boundaries. Setting healthy boundaries is a two-way street. Just as you have the right to set boundaries, so do others. It's important to respect the boundaries of those around you, even if they differ from your own. This mutual respect fosters healthier, more balanced relationships. If someone sets a boundary with you, listen attentively and honor their wishes without taking offense. For example, if a friend says they need some alone time, respect their need for space and avoid pressuring them to engage with you. Dealing with pushback or guilt. Setting boundaries can sometimes lead to pushback, especially if you're not used to asserting yourself. Others may not be used to you saying no, and they might try to guilt-trip you into changing your mind. However, it's important to stand firm and not feel guilty for prioritizing your needs. If you feel guilty, remind yourself that boundaries are necessary for your well-being. Setting them doesn't mean you're being selfish. Rather, it means you're taking care of yourself so that you can show up fully for others when you're able. Trust that setting boundaries leads to healthier, more authentic relationships in the long run. Setting healthy boundaries is a powerful and necessary practice for protecting your time, energy, and emotional well-being. By knowing your limits, communicating your needs, and respecting others' boundaries, you create relationships that are based on mutual respect, trust, and understanding. Boundaries are not walls that isolate us. They are bridges that help us connect with others in a more meaningful, balanced way. When you honor your boundaries, you honor yourself, and you create a life that reflects your values, needs, and priorities. Chapter 12. How to cultivate a positive mindset. A positive mindset is one of the most powerful tools you can possess. It shapes how we perceive the world, how we deal with challenges, and how we interact with others. Cultivating a positive mindset isn't about ignoring life's difficulties or pretending that everything is perfect. Instead, it's about choosing to focus on the good, reframing negative situations, and approaching life with an open, optimistic perspective. A positive mindset can significantly improve your mental health, boost your resilience, and enhance your overall well-being. But how exactly do we cultivate such a mindset, especially when life feels challenging? It requires consistent effort, self-awareness, and the willingness to change how we think. Let's explore practical strategies to develop and maintain a positive mindset. Start with gratitude. Gratitude is the foundation of a positive mindset. When you actively practice gratitude, you shift your focus from what's lacking or going wrong in your life to what's already good and abundant. Gratitude has been scientifically proven to boost happiness, reduce stress, and improve overall life satisfaction. It helps us see the positive aspects of our lives, even during difficult times. To begin cultivating gratitude, start by keeping a gratitude journal. Each day, write down 3 things you are thankful for. They don't have to be big things. Sometimes the smallest moments can bring the most joy, whether it's a warm cup of coffee, a kind word from a friend, or a beautiful sunset. Focusing on these small blessings helps train your mind to see the positive in every day. Over time, this practice rewires your brain to look for the good, even in the midst of challenges. It's also important to express gratitude to others. A simple thank you or a heartfelt note can create positive energy in your relationships and remind you of the kindness and support that exists in your life. Reframe negative thoughts. Our thoughts have a powerful influence on our emotions and behaviors. Negative thoughts, if left unchecked, can quickly spiral into feelings of helplessness or hopelessness. But the good news is that we can change the way we think through a practice called cognitive reframing. Reframing involves changing the way we interpret or view a situation in a way that encourages a more positive and empowering outlook. For example, instead of thinking, "I failed at this task, I'll never succeed," reframe it to, "I learned something valuable from this experience, and I'm one step closer to my goal." This shift in perspective helps you see setbacks not as failures, but as opportunities for growth. Another example might be when you're faced with a challenge. Instead of focusing on the difficulty, reframe the thought to, "This is an opportunity to grow and learn something new." Reframing negative thoughts doesn't mean denying reality. It's about choosing to focus on the possibilities and learning from each experience. Surround yourself with positivity. The people and environments we surround ourselves with have a profound impact on our mindset. When we spend time with negative, complaining individuals, we tend to absorb that negativity. On the other hand, when we surround ourselves with positive, uplifting people, we're more likely to adopt a similar mindset. This is because emotions are contagious. When someone is upbeat and optimistic, their energy is often transferred to those around them. To cultivate a positive mindset, be mindful of the people you spend time with. Choose relationships that nourish your spirit and bring out the best in you. Similarly, limit your exposure to negative influences, whether that's social media accounts that spread negativity or toxic relationships that drain your energy. It's also important to create an environment that fosters positivity. This might mean keeping your living space neat and clutter-free, incorporating uplifting decor, or filling your surroundings with things that make you feel good, like plants or inspirational quotes. The physical environment can play a big role in shaping your mental state, so surround yourself with things that inspire you. Practice self-compassion. A positive mindset isn't about being perfect or always feeling happy. It's about being kind to yourself, especially when things don't go as planned. Self-compassion involves treating yourself with the same kindness, care, and understanding that you would offer to a close friend who is struggling. When you make a mistake or face a setback, instead of being overly critical or harsh on yourself, practice self-compassion. Remind yourself that everyone makes mistakes and that failure is a natural part of the learning process. Instead of saying, "I'm so stupid for making that mistake," say, "I made a mistake, but that doesn't define me. I can learn from this and do better next time." Self-compassion helps to reduce feelings of shame or inadequacy and builds resilience, allowing you to bounce back from challenges with a sense of grace and self-love. It's important to treat yourself with kindness and not hold yourself to impossibly high standards, as this will only lead to frustration and self-doubt. Focus on solutions, not problems. A key element of a positive mindset is learning how to focus on solutions rather than problems. It's easy to get stuck in negative thought patterns where you dwell on what's wrong, what could go wrong, or what's not working. But a positive mindset encourages a shift from focusing on the obstacles to focusing on the possibilities. When faced with a challenge, ask yourself, what can I do to improve this situation? What's within my control? Focusing on solutions empowers you to take action and move forward, rather than staying stuck in negativity. This doesn't mean ignoring your feelings or pretending that problems don't exist. It means acknowledging the challenge, then shifting your energy toward finding ways to overcome it. By focusing on solutions, you create a sense of control and hope, which are key ingredients for maintaining a positive mindset. Practice mindfulness. Mindfulness is the practice of being fully present in the moment and observing your thoughts, feelings, and sensations without judgment. When you are mindful, you are able to step outside the automatic thinking patterns that often lead to negativity. Instead of being overwhelmed by worries about the future or regrets about the past, mindfulness helps you stay grounded in the present moment, which is where true peace and joy reside. To practice mindfulness, start by focusing on your breath. Inhale deeply and exhale slowly, paying attention to the sensations in your body as you breathe. If your mind starts to wander, gently bring your focus back to the present moment. You can also practice mindfulness by focusing on everyday activities, such as eating, walking, or washing dishes. By giving your full attention to the task at hand, you cultivate a sense of presence and contentment. Mindfulness helps you break free from negative thinking and encourages a greater appreciation for the present moment, which is often filled with simple pleasures and beauty. Take care of your body. Our physical health and mental well-being are deeply connected. When we take care of our bodies, it becomes easier to maintain a positive mindset. Regular physical activity, a healthy diet, and adequate sleep all contribute to higher energy levels, reduced stress, and improved mood. Exercise, in particular, has been shown to boost the production of endorphins, chemicals in the brain that promote happiness and well-being. Even a short daily walk or some light stretching can help improve your mood and reduce negative thoughts. In addition, getting enough rest and eating nourishing foods can enhance your ability to think clearly and stay focused on the positive aspects of your life. When you take care of your body, you not only improve your physical health, but also give yourself the mental clarity and strength needed to maintain a positive mindset. Practice patience and persistence. Cultivating a positive mindset is not something that happens overnight. It requires consistent effort, practice, and patience. There will be times when negative thoughts creep in or life's challenges feel overwhelming, and that's okay. The key is to remain persistent in practicing positivity, even when it feels difficult. When negative thoughts arise, remember that you have the power to choose how you respond. With patience and persistence, you'll gradually shift your mindset and begin to notice the positive changes in your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. A positive mindset is a choice, and while it requires effort and commitment, the rewards are immeasurable. By practicing gratitude, reframing negative thoughts, surrounding yourself with positivity, and focusing on solutions, you can cultivate a mindset that empowers you to live with greater joy, resilience, and fulfillment. It's important to remember that developing a positive mindset doesn't mean you'll never face difficulties or experience negative emotions. It means you have the tools to handle challenges with grace and optimism. By consistently nurturing your mind with positive thoughts, behaviors, and practices, you create a life that is filled with possibility, peace, and growth. Chapter 13. Emotional Control in Relationships. Emotional control plays a crucial role in the quality of our relationships. Whether it's with a partner, family members, friends, or co-workers, how we manage our emotions can either strengthen or strain our connections with others. Relationships are built on trust, respect, and understanding, and emotional control allows us to show up in a way that fosters these qualities. However, when emotions are left unchecked, they can lead to misunderstandings, hurt feelings, and unnecessary conflict. Mastering emotional control in relationships is about learning to recognize, regulate, and express our feelings in ways that promote healthy communication and deep connection. It's about creating a space where both parties feel heard, respected, and valued, even during challenging moments. Let's explore the significance of emotional control in relationships and how to develop this vital skill to enhance the quality of our connections. Recognizing the role of emotions in relationships. Emotions are natural and essential components of human interactions. They help us connect with others, express our needs, and understand one another on a deeper level. However, emotions can also become overwhelming or cloud our judgment if not managed properly. In relationships, emotional reactions like anger, jealousy, frustration, or even excitement can sometimes lead to communication breakdowns or unintentional harm. For example, in a disagreement with a partner, if you become too angry, you might say things you don't mean or raise your voice, which can escalate the conflict. Similarly, if you're feeling insecure, your fear of abandonment might lead to overreaction or excessive clinginess, which can make the other person feel trapped or suffocated. These emotional responses are natural, but, when uncontrolled, can harm relationships. Recognizing that emotions are powerful forces that influence the way we act and communicate is the first step toward emotional control. Once you understand how emotions can impact your behavior, you can begin to take control of them instead of allowing them to dictate your actions. The importance of self-awareness in emotional control. The foundation of emotional control in relationships lies in self-awareness, the ability to recognize and understand your own emotions and how they affect your behavior. Without self-awareness, it's easy to react impulsively based on automatic emotional responses rather than responding thoughtfully. For example, if you feel anger building up during a conversation, being self-aware allows you to pause and check in with yourself. Why am I feeling angry right now? Is it because of something this person said? Or is it something deeper, perhaps a past experience or insecurity? By identifying the root cause of your emotional reaction, you can better understand how to manage it. Self-awareness also helps you understand your emotional triggers. A trigger is something that sets off a strong emotional reaction, often in a way that feels disproportionate to the situation. It could be a certain word, tone of voice, or behavior that reminds you of past experiences or unmet needs. Knowing your triggers allows you to anticipate emotional responses and practice strategies to manage them before they escalate. Practicing emotional regulation. Once you're aware of your emotions, the next step is emotional regulation, the ability to manage and control your emotional responses in a way that is healthy and productive. Emotional regulation isn't about suppressing emotions or pretending that everything is fine. It's about recognizing your emotions and choosing how to express them. One common technique for emotional regulation is the pause. When you feel strong emotions like anger or frustration rising, take a moment to pause. This pause gives you the time to breathe, reflect, and decide how to respond. It can be as simple as counting to 10 or taking a few deep breaths to ground yourself before continuing the conversation. This small act of pausing allows you to respond thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively. Other emotional regulation strategies include deep breathing. Taking slow, deep breaths helps activate the body's relaxation response, reducing the intensity of strong emotions. Reframing. If you feel offended or upset, try reframing the situation. Ask yourself, what could the other person have meant by this? Is there another way to view this situation? Mindfulness. Practice staying present and observing your emotions without judgment. Acknowledge the feeling, but don't let it control you. This can help you respond with clarity and calm. Self-soothing. If you feel emotionally overwhelmed, take some time to calm yourself down before re-engaging in the conversation. This might mean stepping outside for a walk, listening to calming music, or journaling your thoughts. The goal of emotional regulation is not to eliminate emotions, but to allow them to pass through you without overwhelming or controlling you. This enables you to engage in conversations and relationships without letting emotional reactions dominate your behavior. Effective communication and emotional control. One of the key components of emotional control in relationships is effective communication. Communication is the bridge that connects us with others, and how we communicate, both verbally and non-verbally, impacts the success of our interactions. Effective communication involves not only expressing yourself clearly, but also listening with empathy and understanding. When emotions are high, it's easy to slip into communication patterns that are less than productive, such as interrupting, raising your voice, or making accusations. Instead, practicing emotional control allows you to communicate in a way that promotes understanding and respect. Here are some tips for communicating effectively while managing your emotions. Use I statements. Instead of saying, "You always ignore me," try saying, "I feel ignored when we don't talk for a long time." I statements shift the focus from blaming the other person to expressing your own feelings in a non-confrontational way. Listen actively. When your partner or friend is speaking, listen without interrupting. Give them the space to share their feelings and concerns, and reflect back what you've heard to ensure understanding. Stay calm and composed. If you're upset, try to avoid raising your voice or using harsh language. A calm, composed tone will encourage a more productive conversation and help prevent the situation from escalating. Empathize with the other person. Put yourself in the other person's shoes and try to understand their perspective. When you approach conversations with empathy, it shows the other person that you value their feelings, which strengthens the relationship. Good communication is at the heart of all healthy relationships, and emotional control allows you to express your feelings and listen to others without being overtaken by emotions. Managing conflict with emotional control. Conflicts are inevitable in any relationship. Differences in opinions, needs, and desires can lead to disagreements. However, emotional control plays a crucial role in managing conflict effectively. When emotions are unchecked during a conflict, it's easy for the conversation to turn into an argument where both parties become defensive, aggressive, or dismissive. To manage conflict with emotional control, follow these principles. Stay calm. If you feel anger or frustration rising, take a break if necessary. Stepping away from the situation for a few minutes can help you collect your thoughts and prevent you from saying something you might regret. Focus on the issue, not the person. It's easy to get personal during a conflict and attack the other person's character. Instead, focus on the issue at hand and avoid making sweeping generalizations or judgments. Seek understanding, not victory. In a conflict, the goal should be to understand each other's perspective, not to win the argument. Be willing to compromise and work together to find a solution that meets both parties' needs. Apologize when necessary. If you've said or done something that hurt the other person, be willing to take responsibility and apologize. A heartfelt apology can go a long way in rebuilding trust and moving forward. Emotional control during conflict allows you to address disagreements in a healthy way, strengthening the relationship rather than weakening it. Setting healthy emotional boundaries. Emotional control also involves setting healthy emotional boundaries. This means knowing when to protect yourself emotionally and when to let go of negative feelings. It's essential to recognize that you are responsible for your own emotions, and while it's natural to care for others, their emotions do not have to overwhelm or control you. For example, if a partner is upset and expressing frustration, it's important to offer support, but not to take on their emotions as your own. Setting emotional boundaries allows you to offer empathy and care without losing your emotional balance. Emotional control in relationships is not about suppressing your emotions or pretending to be perfect. It's about being aware of your feelings, managing them effectively, and responding in ways that strengthen your relationships. By practicing self-awareness, emotional regulation, and effective communication, you create an environment of trust, respect, and mutual understanding. Emotional control helps you navigate conflicts with grace, set healthy boundaries, and connect with others on a deeper level. Ultimately, mastering emotional control in relationships leads to healthier, more fulfilling connections with those you care about. Chapter 14. How to practice mindfulness. Mindfulness is more than just a buzzword in today's fast-paced world. It's a powerful practice that can transform your life in profound ways. In a world where distractions are endless and the demands of daily life can often feel overwhelming, mindfulness offers a way to reconnect with the present moment and cultivate a sense of calm and clarity. But what is mindfulness exactly, and how can we begin practicing it in our daily lives? Mindfulness is the art of paying full attention to the present moment, with openness, curiosity, and without judgment. It's about noticing and being aware of your thoughts, feelings, and sensations in real time. When practiced consistently, mindfulness can help reduce stress, improve focus, enhance emotional regulation, and foster a deeper sense of well-being. But how do we integrate mindfulness into our lives in a practical way? Let's explore how to practice mindfulness and the benefits it can bring. Understanding mindfulness. At its core, mindfulness is the practice of being fully present and engaged in whatever you are doing. It's about tuning in to your inner and outer experience, your thoughts, feelings, sensations, and surroundings, without getting caught up in them or judging them. For example, instead of letting your mind wander while you're eating, mindfulness encourages you to fully experience the act of eating, savoring each bite, paying attention to the flavors, textures, and even the sensations in your mouth. This helps you stay grounded in the present moment, rather than letting your thoughts drift to the past or the future. Mindfulness teaches us to approach life with curiosity and openness, rather than rushing through it or being lost in automatic thoughts. It allows us to notice the small details, the subtle experiences, and the feelings that might otherwise go unnoticed. The benefits of mindfulness. Practicing mindfulness offers a wide range of benefits that can positively impact your mental, emotional, and physical well-being. These benefits extend to every area of life, from managing stress to improving focus, building emotional resilience, and even enhancing your relationships. Reduces stress and anxiety. One of the most significant benefits of mindfulness is its ability to reduce stress and anxiety. When we're mindful, we bring our attention to the present moment, which helps break the cycle of worry and rumination. Instead of thinking about what might happen in the future or rehashing past mistakes, mindfulness anchors us in the here and now. This practice allows us to let go of the mental clutter that often causes stress. It helps us create a sense of space between ourselves and our stresses, which leads to a greater sense of calm and inner peace. Improves focus and concentration. Mindfulness also improves focus and concentration. By training our minds to pay attention to the present moment, we reduce distractions and increase our ability to concentrate on the task at hand. Whether at work, school, or in our personal lives, mindfulness helps us stay fully engaged in whatever we're doing, which increases productivity and effectiveness. Instead of letting our minds wander off during meetings or conversations, mindfulness helps us stay present, which in turn improves our listening and understanding. Enhances emotional regulation. Mindfulness plays a key role in emotional regulation. By becoming more aware of our thoughts and feelings, we can better understand our emotional responses and choose how to act on them. Rather than reacting impulsively to emotions like anger, fear, or frustration, mindfulness helps us pause and decide how we want to respond in a way that aligns with our values. This emotional awareness allows us to navigate difficult emotions with greater ease and clarity, ultimately leading to more balanced emotional health. Improves relationships. When we practice mindfulness, we improve our ability to listen and engage with others. Mindfulness encourages us to be present in our interactions, which enhances our communication and deepens our connections with others. It helps us listen more attentively, be more empathetic, and respond in a thoughtful way. In relationships, mindfulness encourages us to be less reactive and more compassionate. It allows us to understand our own emotions and those of others, which fosters a greater sense of connection and intimacy. Improves physical health. The benefits of mindfulness extend beyond mental and emotional health to physical well-being. Research has shown that mindfulness practices can lower blood pressure, reduce symptoms of chronic pain, and improve sleep quality. By reducing stress and promoting relaxation, mindfulness helps the body recover from the toll that stress takes on physical health. Simple ways to practice mindfulness. Now that we understand the benefits of mindfulness, let's explore some simple techniques that you can start practicing today. These methods don't require any special equipment or a lot of time, making them accessible for everyone. Mindful breathing. Mindful breathing is one of the simplest and most powerful mindfulness practices. The act of focusing on your breath brings you into the present moment and calms your mind. Here's how to practice mindful breathing. Sit or lie in a comfortable position. Close your eyes and bring your attention to your breath. Breathe in deeply through your nose, allowing your lungs to fill with air. Exhale slowly through your mouth or nose, noticing the sensation of the air leaving your body. Continue to breathe deeply and mindfully, focusing on the rhythm of your breath. When your mind starts to wander, gently bring your attention back to your breath. Practice mindful breathing for a few minutes each day. You can do it while sitting quietly, walking, or even while waiting for something. The goal is to bring your full attention to the act of breathing, which helps quiet the mind and reconnect you to the present moment. Body scan meditation. Body scan meditation is another effective mindfulness practice. This involves bringing attention to different parts of your body, one at a time, and noticing any sensations or tension. It's a great way to ground yourself and check in with how you're feeling physically. Here's how to practice a body scan. Find a quiet place to sit or lie down comfortably. Close your eyes and take a few deep breaths to relax. Start by bringing your attention to your feet. Notice any sensations in your toes, feet, or ankles. Slowly move your attention up your body, calves, knees, thighs, hips, paying attention to any feelings of tension, discomfort, or relaxation. Continue scanning your body, moving upward to your abdomen, chest, hands, arms, neck, and face. Take note of any sensations or areas of tension and breathe into those areas as you exhale. Once you've scanned your entire body, take a few deep breaths and check in with how you're feeling overall. Body scan meditation helps you tune into your body and release any physical tension or stress. Mindful eating. Mindful eating is a practice that involves paying full attention to the experience of eating. Instead of eating mindlessly or rushing through meals, mindful eating encourages you to slow down and savor each bite. Here's how to practice mindful eating. Start by sitting down at the table, free of distractions, like TV or your phone. Look at your food and take in its color, texture, and smell. Take a small bite and notice the taste, texture, and temperature of the food in your mouth. Chew slowly and savor the flavors. Pay attention to how the food feels and tastes, and notice when you begin to feel satisfied. Try to eat slowly without rushing through the meal, and listen to your body's signals of hunger and fullness. Mindful eating helps you reconnect with your body's natural cues, leading to healthier eating habits and a greater appreciation for your food. Mindful walking. Mindful walking is a simple practice that can be done anywhere. It involves bringing your full attention to the act of walking, paying attention to each step and the sensations in your body. Here's how to practice mindful walking. Find a quiet place where you can walk comfortably, such as a park or even in your home. Walk slowly, focusing on each step as you take it. Feel your feet making contact with the ground. Notice the movement of your body, how your legs move, how your arms swing. Pay attention to your surroundings. What do you hear, see, and feel? Notice the breeze on your skin, the sounds of nature, or the rhythm of your footsteps. Mindful walking helps you stay present and grounded, especially if you're feeling anxious or overwhelmed. Overcoming challenges in mindfulness practice. While mindfulness is a powerful practice, it's normal to encounter challenges, especially when starting out. Your mind will wander, and it may feel difficult to stay present at first, but that's okay. The goal isn't perfection. It's simply to bring your attention back to the present moment whenever you notice it drifting. With time and practice, mindfulness will become more natural. Making mindfulness a habit. To truly reap the benefits of mindfulness, consistency is key. Start with short sessions, just a few minutes a day, and gradually increase the time as you become more comfortable with the practice. You can incorporate mindfulness into your daily routine, whether it's through mindful breathing, walking, eating, or simply taking a moment to check in with yourself throughout the day. Mindfulness is a simple yet profound practice that can bring peace, clarity, and well-being into your life. By learning to be present and fully engaged in each moment, you can reduce stress, improve focus, enhance emotional regulation, and foster deeper connections with others. Whether through mindful breathing, body scans, mindful eating, or mindful walking, there are many ways to incorporate mindfulness into your life. Start small, be patient with yourself, and experience the transformative power of mindfulness. Chapter 15. Conclusion and Next Steps. As we reach the last chapter of this journey, it's important to pause and reflect on all that we've learned. Over the course of this book, we've explored the vital components of emotional control, from understanding and managing our emotions to cultivating positive habits that support emotional well-being. We've delved into the power of self-awareness, mindfulness, emotional regulation, and communication, all of which form the foundation of emotional mastery. But knowledge alone is not enough. The true transformation happens when we take this knowledge and put it into practice. Emotional control is not a one-time achievement. It is an ongoing process, a skill that must be cultivated and nurtured with each passing day. In this final chapter, we'll look at how you can move forward, take actionable steps, and continue your journey toward emotional mastery. Embrace the process of growth. One of the key themes we've touched on throughout this book is that emotional control is a process, not a destination. It's about progress, not perfection. When you begin your journey to emotional mastery, it's important to recognize that change takes time. There will be setbacks, challenges, and moments of frustration, but these are part of the process. Each setback is an opportunity to learn more about yourself, to refine your emotional skills, and to deepen your understanding of how you respond to life's challenges. Just as you would train a muscle, developing emotional control requires consistent effort and practice. Don't expect overnight success. Instead, focus on small, incremental changes. Celebrate your progress along the way, no matter how small it may seem. Remember, it's not about being perfect. It's about being present and committed to the journey. Reflect on your progress. As you move forward, take time to reflect on how far you've come. Regular self-reflection is a powerful tool for deepening self-awareness and tracking your emotional growth. You might want to keep a journal or simply set aside a few minutes each week to assess your emotional well-being. Ask yourself questions like, how have I managed my emotions in the past week? Have I been able to pause and respond thoughtfully in situations that would have triggered me in the past? Have I noticed any patterns in my emotions that I'd like to work on? What areas of emotional control do I still find challenging, and how can I approach them with more compassion? These reflections not only help you monitor your progress, but also keep you grounded in the fact that emotional mastery is a continual journey. Continue to practice mindfulness. Mindfulness has been a central practice in this book, and it remains one of the most powerful tools you can use to strengthen emotional control. The beauty of mindfulness is that it can be practiced in almost every aspect of your life, and it doesn't require much time. Whether it's through mindful breathing, body scans, or mindful listening, mindfulness helps you stay grounded in the present moment, making it easier to manage your thoughts and emotions. To make mindfulness a lasting habit, incorporate it into your daily routine. Set aside a few minutes each day for mindfulness practice, whether it's in the morning, during lunch, or before bed. The more you practice, the more natural it will become to pause and be present, especially during moments of stress or emotional intensity. If you find yourself struggling to stay mindful, remember that this is a normal part of the process. The goal is not to be perfect at mindfulness, but to consistently return to the present moment, no matter how many times your mind wanders. Each time you do this, you strengthen your ability to manage your emotions and bring greater clarity to your thoughts and actions. Build a support system. Emotional control is not something that we have to do alone. Building a support system of people who encourage and support your growth is essential for success. Surround yourself with individuals who respect your boundaries, understand your goals, and support your emotional well-being. This might include friends, family members, mentors, or even professionals like therapists or coaches. Don't be afraid to lean on others when you need help, whether it's to work through challenging emotions, gain perspective, or simply have a listening ear. Additionally, being part of a supportive community can help reinforce the positive habits you're developing. When you have people around you who practice emotional control, it becomes easier for you to stay committed to your own growth. Share your experiences, ask for advice, and learn from others. Collective support can make the journey of emotional mastery much more fulfilling and empowering. Set realistic goals for your emotional growth. One of the most powerful ways to continue your emotional growth is by setting clear, realistic goals. These goals should align with your values and focus on areas where you feel you need the most improvement. For example, if you struggle with managing anger, set a goal to practice techniques for emotional regulation during times of stress. Or if you feel that you need to strengthen your communication skills, set a goal to practice active listening and mindful speaking during conversations. Be specific about your goals and break them down into manageable steps. For example, instead of saying, "I want to be less reactive," break this goal down into smaller steps like, practice mindfulness for 5 minutes each day. Pause before responding during heated conversations. Use I statements to express feelings rather than blaming others. These smaller achievable steps will help you build momentum and give you a sense of accomplishment as you progress. Also, celebrate your victories along the way, no matter how small they may seem. Emotional growth is a significant achievement, and acknowledging your progress keeps you motivated and focused. Be compassionate with yourself. As you continue your journey toward emotional control, it's important to practice self-compassion. There will be times when you slip up, when you react impulsively, or when you feel like you've taken a step backward. These moments are part of the process, and they don't mean that you've failed. Instead of beating yourself up, treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer a friend who is struggling. Self-compassion allows you to bounce back from setbacks with greater resilience. It helps you acknowledge your mistakes, learn from them, and move forward without judgment. By being compassionate with yourself, you also build the emotional resilience needed to handle future challenges with grace. Keep learning and growing. Emotional control is an evolving skill. As you continue your journey, you may encounter new challenges or discover deeper layers of your emotional life that require attention. This is a lifelong journey, and there is always room for growth. Keep learning about emotional intelligence, mindfulness, emotional regulation, and other tools that support your emotional well-being. Read books, attend workshops, listen to podcasts, or seek out guidance from others who have mastered emotional control. The more you learn, the more empowered you'll become to handle life's ups and downs with greater ease and confidence. Integrate emotional control into your daily life. The ultimate goal of emotional control is not just to learn techniques, but to integrate these practices into your daily life. Emotional control should be a natural, automatic response to the situations you encounter. It should be embedded in the way you approach life, whether it's through how you handle stress, communicate with others, or care for your emotional needs. To do this, practice emotional control in every moment, big or small. When you're stuck in traffic, practice mindful breathing. When you're feeling frustrated at work, take a moment to check in with your emotions and respond thoughtfully. The more you apply these principles in your everyday life, the more natural they will become, until emotional control is simply how you live. The journey toward emotional mastery is one that takes time, patience, and a willingness to grow. By committing to this path, you are choosing a life of greater peace, resilience, and fulfillment. You are learning to manage your emotions with wisdom and grace, which leads to stronger relationships, better decision-making, and a deeper sense of well-being. Remember, emotional control is not about being perfect or never making mistakes. It's about progress. Each day presents an opportunity to practice, to grow, and to become the best version of yourself. So, as you move forward, take these lessons with you and continue to nurture your emotional growth with kindness, patience, and a commitment to learning. Your journey of emotional mastery is just beginning, and the possibilities for growth are endless.